Hello, welcome. My name is San. This is a reading today for Pisces. There are no dates on my readings. I trust that when the message finds you, if it resonates, then it's yours at that time. Pisces, I'm doing your reading with a blend of decks. You'll see a mix of several decks in your spread today. But before we get started, I just want to mention that I'm now on Patreon. So if you are interested in extended readings, I'm moving everything from my website now onto Patreon just because it's more streamlined for me, and I find that it's more of a community over there. So you can come join as a free member, or there's a subscription for $50 for a month, or you can get individual readings for $9, which is cheaper than my website and cheaper than Vimeo actually. Okay, so let's see what we've got for Pisces when we split the deck. So we've got the Seven of Wands. The Seven of Wands was somebody standing up for themselves. I feel like it was, why do I want to say it was the Taurus reading? I feel like there's a lot of Taurian energy around this card for some reason. Was I talking about a Taurus? It doesn't really matter. The Ace of Pentacles underneath that. And the bottom of the deck is the Three of Discs. Something wrong with my voice this morning. So Pisces, I've had your cards out on the table yesterday, but I was a bit blown over by that solar flare, I think is what happened. There was a massive CME yesterday, or solar storm, and I just couldn't get anything done yesterday. So the cards have been on the table, and I was wanting to record, but it just didn't feel right. There was some sort of resistance there. Maybe that's what the Seven of Wands is talking about. So you're standing up for yourself and you're meeting resistance in a situation where things should be streamlined. Did I already say streamline? I said streamline when it comes to Patreon. Sorry, I'm trying to get my thoughts together. So your cards have been on the table since yesterday. Maybe actually even late Saturday night. I pulled them getting ready for yesterday, but then yesterday just didn't happen. So I've sat here with them a couple of times just trying to get myself to the right place where I could record. And the cards have been kind of shifting and changing. The story that I'm seeing is shifting and changing. And I feel like that's the reason why I didn't record earlier, is because it was like the story was settling in. It was settling in and it wasn't ready to be told yet. It seems to be focused around this emperor. There's an emperor here with the Three of Swords, an emperor that is experiencing heartbreak, but he seems to belong to you in some way, right? So this emperor is connected to you. I don't believe that the heartbreak is yours, but, or maybe it's shared somehow, because I'm realizing that now that he's kind of looking upon it. So he's considering it. He's thinking about it. So I want to say it's not super fresh, because he's at the point now where he's sitting back and contemplating the heartbreak from that Three of Swords. So let's pull you an overall energy from this deck I haven't used in a really long time. It's called the Dream Decoder deck, which I absolutely love. It's an unusual deck, and I just saw it in my drawer, so I thought I would pull it out today for you, because there's something unusual about your reading, and I think it has something to do with the fact that it's moving and changing. As I'm sitting here with the cards over the weekend, it's been moving and changing. It's like it wasn't quite right. It wasn't quite ready to be told yet, but now I feel like we've locked in. Okay, overall energy from the Dream Decoder for Pisces. And Pisces is always an unusual sign on my channel. Religious or spiritual figures. Okay, that card's stuck in my hand, so I'm going to take it. There's a card like this in another deck called Grace, which is interesting because it's almost coming through as somebody's name today rather than the state of grace. So it says religious or spiritual figures. I was just at the tire shop. My car had a slow leak in one of the tires, so I brought it in to get fixed. And as I was waiting in the waiting room, there was, of course, a spread of magazines to look through while you were waiting, but there was this book about spirituality, which I found fascinating. I was going to read it, but the fluorescent lights weren't letting me read. So it's just talking about Jesus, Buddha, Muhammad, and different angelic symbols such as angel, cross, star, or crescent moon probably indicates moral or spiritual issues in your life. A spiritual leader or an anonymous priest or nun or religious figure. Oh, because we're talking about dreams, if you're having dreams about them. Well, I feel like maybe there's a spiritual, you got the Hierophant here. So you got the Hierophant here twice, actually. bookending a message in between it. So it feels like there is a very spiritual element to your reading today. I haven't gotten there yet, though, so I'm not sure. I know the Hierophant belongs to you, at least. It looks like your Pisces, your Hierophant energy is evolving. And it's interesting because the way that it's evolving is it's becoming more childlike or playful, which could appear to some people to be like a devolving situation, but it isn't. It's actually to your benefit, or to the benefit, I want to say, of everybody involved, including this Emperor. So the Emperor, I believe, is who's bringing in this Three of Pentacles here. It's like they're wanting to be with you in some way, work with you. They want to work with you or be with you, or even just sit with you in conversation. You're coming through with the Temperance and the Fool, which is talking about New Balance. I'm thinking of the shoes, New Balance. Because the Fool always is talking about newness, but the Temperance card talks about balance. There's something here about you are attending to this heartbreak that the Emperor is considering. Maybe you're dealing with an Aries, maybe a fire sign, maybe just a very dominant masculine character. Somebody who's really generally got their stuff together. They've got their act together, but right now everybody's looking at this Three of Swords. So some kind of betrayal has gone down. But oddly enough, it doesn't feel like it's between the two of you. You're coming through with this Temperance. It's like you're trying to placate them, or you're trying to smooth out the energy in the situation. Maybe that's why we had to wait for the weekend to pass before we talked about this message. Because perhaps this heartache or this betrayal is very fresh. It's coming through as a spiritual matter, especially with the spiritual figures. Maybe somebody's having a crisis of faith or is feeling abandoned by the universe currently. The reason why I'm saying it's very spiritual is because of the coloring. I don't know why. It's just because usually it would be just a heart and some swords, but the coloring in this card with the teals and the mauves and the purples and pinks, it's making me feel like it's very iridescent, and that to me is a very spiritual energy. It's like it glows in the dark, or it's very reflective. Well, he's very reflective. I'm surprised he's not coming through as the King of Swords, but this is the King of Swords evolved. So he is a King of Swords. He's very reflective. He's reflective of his heartache, but his heartache seems to be of a spiritual matter. It does seem to belong to him, though. That's the thing. But you seem to be tending to it in some form with that Temperance energy. The fact that she's watering the garden, but it's kind of leaning towards that matter, whatever that is. But at the same time, you're leaning away from it. So maybe this is what's new is you're finding a balance in that, especially with the Hangman coming next. Something is hanging in the balance of whether or not Pisces can come up masterful in this situation, because maybe there's a history with this Emperor. They feel very present in your life, though. I don't feel like there's any distance or separation currently. I mean, maybe there is. Maybe it's just been over the weekend as this energy settles in and begins to take shape in the hearts and minds of those involved. That's why we've been sitting here for the weekend waiting for this message to settle. Or maybe from your perspective, because we've got the Witch coming up. The Witch and the Ace of Swords coming up. The Witch is the Dorothy Gale card in this deck here. The Journey to Oz and Wonderland, which is a new deck I've been working with. So the Dorothy card, I believe, is the ultimate card in the deck. It's the Major Arcana 25. There's extra cards in this deck, and Dorothy is the ultimate card. It's the end all be all. It comes even after the World and the Sun and all of those amazing cards. So I've been talking about it as somebody who has come fully into their power. It's like a spiritual being. Maybe that's you. Oh, that makes a lot of sense, actually. I keep wanting to call you Taurus for some reason. That makes a lot of sense, Pisces, because this card came out. The spiritual figures came out. And I kind of want to assign each of these figures to one of you, either Emperor or Pisces, but it doesn't feel appropriate. I feel like this is Pisces here, the spiritual figure, and this matter here. It's not coming through as an individual. It's coming through as a matter. Maybe it's that Three of Hearts. It's like you're holding the Three of Hearts in your arms and you're trying to soothe it. The Three of Hearts, the Three of Swords is what I meant. It's because it's got that great big heart on it. So I'm always thinking of it as the Three of Hearts, which I feel is very appropriate, actually. But that would be the Three of Cups, I assume. Okay, but what I was saying is Pisces has come to this place where you found this perfect balance between what and what, I'm not sure, but it's showing mastery. That's what the Witch card is talking about. The Witch is somebody who has become very masterful in their process or in their gift giving. That's interesting because of this. So it could be somebody that you really care about is going through a tough time, and usually where you would rush in and take over or console or offer help, maybe you're holding back a little bit with this Hanged Man, and that's what's new here. With the Fool, you're leaning more into that. It's not a tug of war. I would usually call this maybe a tug of war because she's leaning this way and leaning that way at the same time or alternately. But it feels more like you've become masterful at doing both, either simultaneously or in equal balance, right? So it's like you lean one way, but then you lean the other in the appropriate timing so that nothing ever gets out of balance or off kilter. That's what the Hangman is talking about, and the Dorothy Gale card and the Ace of Swords. Perhaps this has always been a matter of the heart for you, but you've taken it into the mind more recently with this Emperor. There has been a lot of interesting and or challenging conversations around the Emperor of late. So they could be your Emperor. If you go back through some of the recent readings, we could be talking about your Emperor here. But it was an Emperor. I feel like the Emperor was, in the other readings, was being left behind. And this doesn't feel like it's so with you. You're not leaving your Emperor behind. In fact, you're here wanting to nurture them, but you're doing it in a different way than you are accustomed. Like usually you maybe would put all your heart and soul into healing the Emperor. But maybe because he is an Emperor and you're this Dorothy Gale card, you realize that nothing is really that urgent. It's like everything's going to be okay. Something like that. So there's no pressing emotions. And that's maybe why we sat on your reading for a day, because there's nothing urgent here. It's like there's a lot of patience. With the Ten of Discs or the Ten of Pentacles coming out next, this is just coming through as everything's going to be all right. Everything's going to be all right because everybody's tuned into their light body is what I'm getting. Because I'm seeing like the Tree of Life and the Merkaba in the formation of these glowing orb pentacles. So it's as if in the fact that the pentacles are kind of stamped over or floating or existing over top of the figures in this card is almost telling me that each, especially these two here, that's like you and the Emperor, have fully embodied Merkaba, like full Merkaba activations is what it's coming through. That means light body. You're both fully in your light body perspective. Maybe that's why the Hierophant is coming out next. But this Hierophant, this particular Hierophant, oh my goodness. I just noticed it says on the card, there's the caterpillar, but then there's smoke. And the smoke says, who are you? Can you see that? You can see the W for sure, the WHO. And then there's an RU and a question mark. Who are you? Let's bring up the Who song, right? I've never noticed that before. But what I was going to say is this Hierophant is an unusual Hierophant compared to this one here. This Hierophant that's coming up, we'll get to that one in a moment. This one has been around the channel for years and we're very comfortable with it. So that's interesting how it's coming out in this order with this one first. But I feel like it's because maybe this is new. Maybe this Merkaba activation is a new situation. It's new and it's the first time you're having to be around other people since this activation. So it does feel very much like you and this Emperor are very, very much connected or very much together, especially with that Three of Discs coming out. But there's challenge in relationship to it, right? That's what the Seven of Wands and this Three of Discs is talking about. Because of the Ace of Pentacles and the Sun card underneath those, because something new is activated with the Sun. Well, maybe the solar storm yesterday has activated you guys. And then you got the Lovers and the Five of Swords underneath that. I'm trying not to go too far into the deck. The Lovers and the Five of Swords. So there's a challenge when it comes to the relationship, but I feel like the challenge is just the fact that there's this new activation going on that seems to be affecting the Emperor in a slightly negative way, or maybe a drastically negative way. And it would usually pull you in or pull you off kilter. But this is where your mastery is becoming apparent to you, because you're holding your ground, or you're holding steady through his shakeup. You see what I mean? And then with these cards here, the Ten of Discs and the Hierophant, it almost feels like then you have to present yourself. There's a lot of clutter kind of on top of the scene, though. That's what I mean. But it's a supportive environment. It's like going home to your family, but you guys are newly activated. So you're working through something together, and then you have to do it kind of in front of the family. So that's why it's coming through with this strangeness to it, with this caterpillar. But then you've got the World card coming up next, which feels like bursting into a butterfly. What is that from? I'm sure it's a lyric to a Coldplay song. It is. It's one of their newer songs. Maybe it's Jupiter, their song Jupiter, bursting into a butterfly, or wanting to burst into a butterfly. That's what that looks like. Because I was going to say the Hierophant is this caterpillar. There's no butterfly yet. But then this card coming up next to it feels like that bursting into a butterfly energy. I mean, she's got the Merkaba. That's what that's talking about. All that kind of light grid energy or sacred geometry. Spiritual figures. I'm just reading the back of this card. It's talking about kind of challenging your faith and needing to really pull forth your moral compass, seeking guidance. You do well to seek guidance. From your best and most insightful self. That's the thing I was going to say. The guidance is coming from the self, especially when you're at this level of mastery with the. Well, and there it is. There too. That's where you're leaning into that, claiming that Merkaba energy, or the light body, or the light mastery, the mastery of the light. Okay. With the King of Wands coming up next. Okay, there's something here about, maybe it's the fact that when you go into public or into the family, or return to the family, or return to a scene that you haven't been to for some time together, I feel like it's you that's holding it steady, and it's helping bringing forth the magic of the Emperor. Because he's coming now as the King of Wands, but you're bracketing him with these energies. You're almost like those guides that show up. Like you're acting as a guide for him that show up during initiation phases. So it almost feels like it's more of an initiation for him, because he's the one who's got to kind of storm through this situation. And you're holding the whole reading you're coming through is very steady, because you know the future, because you're Dorothy Gale, because you're the witch, the witchy woman, for example, that has the whole picture. Because this card's always talking to me about that, which is interesting, because it's a Seven of Wands, but it's a very different energy from this Seven of Wands. Because this one's in a protective bubble. This one knows what's going on. This one has an eye on the future. But this one here has a spotlight shining on them, because they're standing up for something, and is getting kind of a need to defend themselves because of that, or defending themselves because there is competition or opposition. But even though you have all of wands, they're not lit, they're not prodding. They're actually supporting you. It almost looks like they're helping to lift you up. So your Seven of Wands is a very different energy from their Seven of Wands. But they're still wanting to be with you or work with you with this Three of Pentacles, right? And I feel like you want that as well. But at the same time, with the Eight of Swords, there's all this kind of feeling of protection on your part. So this is what's beautiful, Pisces, is that something is going on with your person. I believe the Emperor is your person or somebody that you care deeply for. And you would never or will never abandon them, especially in their time of need. But perhaps in the past, when they have been in a situation where they need help, you've been overgiving. But this time it's like you're present the perfect amount. And it's helping them kind of storm through this situation much more efficiently than if you had kind of rushed in to take care of them. It feels more like you're just standing by them. With these cards, it's like you're just standing by. You're not turning your back. You're not ghosting them. You're not taking a break. You're just holding space in a sense. That's what yesterday felt like. While the cards were here on the table, but the message wasn't ready yet. It was like the table, the room, the cards themselves were holding space for the Emperor to go through whatever they were going through. But there is this, with the Eight of Swords particularly, there's this need for you to be protective of yourself. It's almost as if you're turning a blind eye to something. It's like being in the room, but it's pretty much just letting somebody have their experience, but standing next to them, it's like holding their hand through a situation that really isn't that challenging. It's challenging because it's new, because there's awkwardness in the evolution. But the Hierophant comes out again, and this is the playful, relaxed Hierophant. This is a Hierophant that's been there for a while. Actually, this is this vision landing. The cards came out in this order. This one first, with the competition is in a sense kind of holding you up or pushing you up. This is a past Seven of Wands maybe, that you got a glimpse of this current moment, which was the future at that point. But now it's landing. You see how his cushion is on the ground? And you know that there's going to be another evolution, another ascension coming. But at this point, this one is just landing. And it's almost got that tickly belly kind of a feeling like when you get dropped really quickly. But it's a playfulness. There's a playfulness there. And then the Strength card at the end of the reading. This is absolutely beautiful because it's been sitting on my table all night. And I was having a conversation with a friend last night about healing during challenging times, not knowing what to do or where to go, just knowing that you have to trust the process and just trying to be and calling in helper energies. And the help that showed up was an iridescent dragon, a motherly iridescent dragon energy. And they were saying, keep an eye out for the iridescent dragon in the cards. She will appear in the cards. And I didn't realize she was already there. I did say to them that I felt like the energy had already been showing itself in the cards. And then I sat down here today to record, and when I saw this, I got goosebumps. I was like, it has been here like all weekend. It's been sitting here already before we even call it. So there's something about that energy that is applicable to you, Pisces, in this situation. You are, in a sense, this iridescent dragon coming to the aid. But all you have to do is be present. Your presence adds strength to all involved. Okay, I am going to continue to pull cards and see what else wants to be said about this. I assume that this relationship with this Emperor or where it's going next, because you have just been like unwavering and steadfast and strong with the like incredible strength. And I'm just noticing the infinity symbol above her head. That's where it's all coming from. It's that infinity loop. Okay, I'm going to continue to pull cards and create an extended. If you're interested in that, link is in the description. And if not, I will see you next time, Pisces. Thanks, bye.